welcome along everybody. Episode 35 of a Thai football podcast, and one with a difference. As you well know, we've planned this for a while, mate. New ground for me. I came here in 2018 to take some pictures on my Isan tour. But tonight, the Roving Report comes from Khon Kaen FC against Sisaket Utd. Beautiful city here in Isan. Khon Kaen, the second biggest in the region. A fantastic city. I've come up with my good lady Dow. We've had a great night last night at Tontan Market and looking forward to today's game. After yesterday's remarkable result of Marasarakam 1, Surin Conchimol 1, which really is, unless you understand the context, a staggering result. It leaves Sisaket 2 points behind with tonight's game in hand. And of course next week Sisaket play Marasarakam at home. So a lot resting on tonight. Yeah, the stadium here in Khon Kaen, it's shared with Khon Kaen FC, who are the original club here in the city, and newcomers Khon Kaen United, who are in the top division. Teams have gone in opposite directions over the last few years. It's easy to get to, about 10 minutes from the centre in a cab, 10 minutes from the railway station. Tonight much of the ground is free admission in the popular sections, or 50 baht in the main stand where us poshins are going. Yeah, highly recommended. As I say, Tontan Market last night, fantastic attraction. Probably the best night market I've been to in my life. Lots of entertainment, free of charge, lots of food, drink, clothes stalls, everything you want. If you want to come to the football here, go to Tontan on the Saturday night and come and enjoy the football. Well, we're in the 20th minute and the team's going at it, but not a lot of goalmouth action until the header from a Khon Kaen forward came back off the bar and away to safety. The long throw's coming in now, keeper caught it. Your thoughts so far, Dale?
It's been a very entertaining game so far, very open. Both teams trying to attack, trying to play good football. I think the home side probably just shading it. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. And can I just make another point here? I've been talking to some Khon Kaen fans and they're with me. I had a bit of a spat on Twitter a few days ago with someone about referring to Khon Kaen United as Khon Kaen, and they were incensed when I told them that, and quite rightly. They're two completely different clubs. This is Khon Kaen. Khon Kaen United play tomorrow night. They're the team who are in T1. Just needed to get that off my chest. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, Panagazzi missing. He kicked the ball away the other week and we couldn't work out why. And he's at the Riza Salai game tonight, is Panagazzi, not up in Khon Kaen. And the reason he kicked the ball away was to get a yellow card, so he's avoided suspension tonight. And then he is available for the Marasarakam game next Saturday. Inside information here on the podcast, folks. So half-time here in Khon Kaen, 0-0. Got Dale with me, editor-in-chief. What do you think, mate?
Well, to be fair, the highlight of tonight, and probably the highlight of the season so far, is I've met a fellow Oldham Athletic fan here.
0-0, they were lucky to get 0.
We've got Michael with us as well, offering his opinion.
He's the Khon Kaen fan over there. So yeah, that's it. I've given up on the football now.
I've never seen a bloke run as fast towards another bloke unless he's the barman at last orders. It was a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Danilo could take heed with that turn of pace.
I've always been quick, Rob. I've always been quick. It's the first time you've seen me, haven't you? But to be fair, I've been lived here for nearly 30 years, and he's only the second one I've met, so quite remarkable, really.
So the first half pretty even. My highlight, going in the toilet, which is probably the smelliest since train spotting. But we'll get back up to the stand eventually. I think these lads are having a loving underneath the stand. So, blankety blank, 0-0 here in Khon Kaen. And to be quite honest, we could be here till midnight and it'd be blankety blank. Neither team creating a real clear-cut chance, but a decent enough watch. And the best thing is, football's the winner. We've been with lovely people all evening. And that's the real joy of Thai football, folks. Go out, meet friends, and have a beer. so long after the game, the players have gone home, they're showered, probably halfway back to Sisaket, but we're still out, Dale.
We are. It's been a fantastic evening. The football, probably a draw was a fair result. I was impressed with the standard. I was also very impressed with the referee. I thought he had a great game. He didn't stand for any nonsense, and we didn't get any silliness. There was no time wasting, no injury feigning, which was really commendable, I thought. And post-match, it's just been brilliant. We've been to a couple of bars. I've driven around in a kind of a pod-like... how would you describe it? I can't even describe what I was driving around in.
I would suggest listeners try and look at Wheelie World, Cholton and the Wheelies on YouTube.
Is that what it was? It was like a great big wheel, wasn't it? With seats in it, and I did drive around on that for about half an hour, and I really enjoyed it. And then my new friend Andy, the Oldham fan, introduced us to a rooftop bar, which we're still at now, and it's long after midnight, so we're sitting in this rooftop bar. Sadly, we had to endure some awful MOR music. Now, I know Rob will take issue with that because he quite enjoyed it. I hated every single minute of it, but otherwise it's been fantastic. And now we're up here looking out over the whole city.
And lovely to meet Michael.
Mike was a great guy, yeah. Very, very keen Khon Kaen fan, and as I said earlier, keen to impress that his team is Khon Kaen and the enemy is Khon Kaen United. I think I need to stress that once again, because that really came across in our conversations with Michael, is that he absolutely loathes and detests Khon Kaen United, and for anybody who refers to them as Khon Kaen is clearly wrong. And those are Michael's words, not mine, although I do echo them.
It's not just about Port, Muang Thong, about rivalry. It happens all over the country, folks. But definitely, anyone who wants a football weekend, there's a lot worse cities than Khon Kaen. Decent stadium, excellent nightlife, lots of shopping, lots of night markets. Suits couples, suits lads, suits lasses. Whatever you are, come and give it a go. Khon Kaen's great. Yeah, fantastic night and lovely to catch up again, Dale. Have you been up to anything else?
I have, yeah. But first off, I just want to say what a great night that was. I enjoyed every single minute of it. And as you're constantly saying, you know, it's not just about the football. It's about the people you meet, the company you spend the time with. And it was just fantastic. And obviously meeting Andy, I mean, what are the chances on running into another Oldham fan at Khon Kaen against Sisaket Utd in T3?
The first time he's been there as well.
I still can't get my head around that. But to answer your question, I've been quite busy, actually. I've had 3 games in 3 days. So I'm coming after Marco's record. We had him on a couple of months ago and he'd done 100 games in 365 days. Well, I've done 3 in 3. I'm going to miss out tonight. Sadly, I can't find a game to watch. But it's been great, yeah. I went up to Non-Burpitchire against Ratchaburi, which was 1-0. The home team won to keep up their good form at the top of the table and make my prediction look even more solid. Really enjoyed that. Then obviously went to the match on Sunday night, Khon Kaen against Sisaket Utd, which 0-0. It was still very entertaining. And then last night I was back at the same ground, which was quite a strange experience. Only 24 hours between the 2 games, and the difference was very marked. I mean, obviously, Khon Kaen United are the T1 team and attract much bigger crowds, but there was a lot more buzz outside the stadium, a lot more food stalls, bigger crowd inside. Obviously, this time I sat with the main body of supporters, so the atmosphere was pretty good in there. But yeah, I've had a great time.
Yeah, it's somewhere we certainly want to return to.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like you were impressed.
Tourism around football, you can't beat it. You're learning about life as well as, you know, having a bit of entertainment to sort of split the day up.
And you never know who you might bump into.
Hello, I'm Steve Darby, ex-coach of Thailand, and you're listening to the new Thai Football Podcast.
So, on with the rest of the programme. Cast your mind back a week to the Muang Thong United visit to Pat Stadium to play Port, which was a big occasion due to the lifting of the away fan ban. So I've caught up with 2 fans, one from each team. So I've got Jim representing the home side Port, and I've got Kevin representing the away side Muang Thong. And this is about their experiences of the night, what they thought of the security arrangements and how smoothly things went. So we'll listen to those 2 now. and then you and me can have a chat about it afterwards, Rob, if that's okay.
Perfect.
So we'll start with Jim, Port fan, and then Kevin, Muang Thong fan. A Thai Football Podcast interview. Welcome back, Jim. It's great to have you back on the podcast, mate.
Hi, Dale. Good to speak to you again.
And the reason you're on is to talk about the big game, as we have to call it by law, which was Port against Muang Thong United on Wednesday night, which was quite a historic occasion because it saw the lifting of the infamous away fan ban. So obviously for people who don't know, there was a couple of incidents 8-9 years ago involving fans of Port and Muang Thong, things we don't really see in Thai football. And it led to fans being banned from watching the away game, this fixture. And after a lengthy period, they decided for some reason that this was the right time to lift it and away fans would be allowed back in. So Wednesday night, Muang Thong United fans were welcomed to Pat Stadium. How did it go?
There's not many people who talk up the police and kind of administration type side of Thailand, but they actually got it pretty much spot on, I thought, on Wednesday. When you arrived to the Pat complex, there was a couple of flatbed kind of pickup trucks sat in the gate and a few police milling around. You thought, oh, this could be very heavy-handed kind of thing. But then when you actually got into the kind of the fan park area, there was no extra presence. There was Muang Thong fans in there milling around, being friendly, being, you know, they were welcome. You know, we spoke to them. There were Farang Muang Thong and Thai Muang Thong fans in there, and they were, there was lots of waving, and everyone was very clear on that they shouldn't be a problem. Everyone did want to be mates, as has been pushed, and the loving was very much there for all to see. They told us that they would keep us in for half an hour after the game, that the away fans would have 20 minutes to leave the stadium, and then we would be let out afterwards. In actual fact, there seemed to be people leaving straight after the end of the game. It was straight because there was no real sense of animosity between the two sets of fans. They were there, and there wasn't even really any. Our end was superb, but we just made noise. We didn't really seem to go for them, even the way that we would for an average set of away fans. We just did our thing and didn't seem to interact with them in our area, which was different. The gap between the home and away set of fans was much wider, and there's normally like one or two police in there. There was a policeman every few seats in there, so they made themselves visible there. The police weren't visible. I thought it'd be like one of those old photos that you've seen of Pat and other stadiums where there's a line of police all in riot gear around the edge of but they didn't. They kept a low profile. They didn't make the thing feel like anything more than it had to be. And at the end, people were leaving if they wanted to immediately. Obviously, the majority of the crowd chose to stay in and applaud the players for what had happened. And we were allowed to leave. And then when we were outside and hanging around and having a few drinks, as we do, about an hour or so, maybe a little bit longer after that, a convoy of police vehicles drove out, and you suddenly realised that there was probably quite a few policemen tucked away somewhere in and around the area, and they were if it had anything terrible had happened, there would have been a lot of police there ready to do something, but it wasn't needed, and it was really quite friendly and amicable between the two sets of fans.
It's nice that it all passed off peacefully, considering the game as well. That was quite an exciting roller coaster ride, wasn't it? But it's good to hear you were all mixing and mingling before and after the game. That's really what it's all about, isn't it? I mean, I know people who'll criticise Thai football, saying it lacks passion and you don't get that edge that you get in certain games in England. But I think for most of us, that's a good thing. I mean, I'm in my 60s now. I don't really want to take my life into my hands every time I go to a football match like I used to do when I was growing up. I think it's nice. And the fact that everybody behaved themselves and everybody seemed to be mature about it, even the police, which is pleasing to hear, because as you say, there have been times in the past when they've been a bit heavy-handed when they haven't needed to be, and that's kind of provoked things rather than calm things down, hasn't it? Did they bring many? Was the away end full? It was difficult to tell on the television because, as you know, they tend to be on the same side as the cameras. So what kind of turnout was there from Muang Thong?
It wasn't sold. It was a long way. Their end was a long way off of sold out. They had a decent following. It wasn't empty, but it certainly wasn't full. What they didn't have is, I think maybe their ultras stayed away, which might be a sensible, and perhaps they were asked by the club not to come because, another thing that could, sometimes if you turn up to the ground, there's a load of balaclava wearing, all in black clad, aggressively posturing fans, and we had our ultras at our end, so they could be taken as aggressive, but they're not really. But and I don't want to imply that the Muang Thong ultras are a problem, but if you have have some of that. That might be, but there wasn't that. Yeah, there was a decent support from them, and but far from sold out. And the other thing about the building of Brit, there was trouble, but there's been a real sense of building bridges between the two sets of fans as well over the last 8-9 years. The big one I think really kind of made people realise that time's a great healer. Obviously, in 8 years since anything bad happened is really useful. And then in that period, about halfway through, we had the tragedy where we lost some fans in a minibus crash as they went up to Nong Bua for a cup game. The Muang Thong fan groups, when that happened, were absolutely superb. They brought flowers, they attended the funerals and things like that. They really came through and said, look, we don't particularly, we might not like each other on a level, but football's football. Yeah, we are the same and different at the same time. That was kind of a defining moment, and the animosity really faded away from that point a little bit. Yeah, there was passion in there on Wednesday night, and people doing all the normal things, but it was heated in the match. But when you walk outside, it's done, and you don't want to hit anybody, you don't want to be hit yourself.
It's just the way it should be. I think that's absolutely fine. I mean, like you say, it's all about the 90 minutes, isn't it? So do you think that's it now?
Yeah.
Do you think we can move on and, this will no longer be an issue and away fans will just be admitted as is the norm for every other game?
Well, you hope so. I mean, it's only ever been us and them that have had the. There's other ones down the league, I think, where there's a ban on clubs. But don't presume that it's absolute, that there'll never be another incident. But it felt like just another game. It's no different to another club that there's a rivalry with, or any other game that you kind of look for when the fixtures come out.
Let's hope so. Let's hope that's. Things can return to normal now. It was a great occasion. It looked like it. That came across on the telly, and I'm so pleased to hear that everything went well. The ticketing arrangements worked, the segregation and the supervision worked, and that everybody behaved themselves. It was great advert for Thai football, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a great atmosphere to be in. It was brilliant. Yeah, it was great. The atmosphere was superb. The fans were. That was how Thai fans were. Again, what you talk when you mentioned like the different cultures. I mean, at half time in England, Port would have been booed off, and the Thai fans, all they did, or certainly around us, our section of Thai fans just were relentless. They just chanted from the start till well after the game, and they don't turn on the team. It's endless support, and it was really superb to see on Wednesday night.
But I think you're right. I mean, it is great to have that attitude. We kind of look at it sometimes, we can be a bit cynical about it. But yeah, it worked on Wednesday night. So it's good to be positive about the whole thing. I guess Muang Thong fans won't be too happy with the final result, but they've got to be pleased with the way everything went off the field, certainly. And like I said earlier, hopefully that's it now. There'll be no more of this silliness and we can just all get on with enjoying the game.
Yeah. Hopefully that is the end of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Right, it's been great to chat, Jim. Really appreciate you coming on. Thanks so much. And it's good that you got your voice back. We gave you a couple of days to recover as well. So thank you.
Thanks for having me. And hopefully see you in a few weeks' time.
Yes, all being well. All right. See you, mate. Bye.
Bye-bye.
A Thai Football Podcast interview. Hello and welcome to the podcast, Kevin. It's great to have you on and it's good to chat.
Hello, Dale. It's good to be back as well.
So you're here this week to talk about last Wednesday's Port versus Muang Thong United game, which is famous, or infamous, should I say, for the trouble that has followed the fixture in the past, which led to the fan ban, which thankfully was lifted this season. So Muang Thong United fans were allowed into Pat Stadium and you went along, is that right?
That's correct, I was there.
So I just want to talk about your experiences really, how it was getting a ticket, how you felt at the ground. So when you heard the fan ban was lifted, how did you feel?
I was planning to go to that stadium anyways. Even if the fan ban was not lifted, I was probably going to sit in the home side. But the fact that it was lifted, I was excited and I just cleared all of my schedule just to go to that game.
So you would have gone in disguise?
Regardless, yes, I would have.
Have you done that before?
No, I've not.
Because I know one or two people have. I am aware that there's been a few Port fans who've gone to Muang Thong not wearing replica kit and a few Muang Thong fans who've been to Port. So it's a shame, isn't it, when you have to sneak around like that?
It would have made a really good YouTube video.
Behind enemy lines, I guess.
Exactly.
How did you go about getting tickets for the game?
I worked in Khon, so it's not too far from the stadium. So I just left work around 3:30. Rode my motorcycle to the stadium, and they made me wait for like about half an hour because I was early. So I sat in the cafe that's near the away end. I was there for about 30 minutes, and then I just joined the line for the tickets. And to my surprise, the queue was not too long. I was one of the first people. It was not really a hassle. I expected the line to be like, really, really big. I was expecting far more people than what there actually was.
Why do you think that was? Why do you think there wasn't a bigger turnout from Muang Thong United?
Maybe it was because it was a Wednesday, or maybe people were just not too sure about how things were going to go. I think people were just trying to be safe.
Well, whatever reason, it was great to have away fans back in. How did you feel when you were at the stadium? I've spoken to a couple of Port fans, obviously, and I've seen things on social media, and everything seemed to be fine. How did you feel walking around? Were you in club colours?
No, I was not, because just like I said, I came from my work, so I was not. And I actually brought a friend of mine with me as well, and I told him the history about this fixture, the things that happened in the past that caused the ban, and there were a lot of police. I'm not gonna lie. I hope there was some kind of riot that happened. It would have been entertaining, but in the end, it was all good. I was not worried, but yeah, it was a good experience.
That's good to hear. And I think the overall impression we're getting is that everybody did behave themselves. And I think everybody was just grateful for the opportunity to go and watch the game and have both sets of fans back in the ground again, which adds to the atmosphere, doesn't it?
That does. I was going to say, for some reason, I did not see the ultras from Muang Thong's side. I don't know if they were banned or they were not allowed to go in, but they were not there.
Now, there are a couple of theories floating around on the internet. One is that they were asked to stay away by the club just in case it did lead to any problems. And the other is that they made the choice themselves because there was still a little bit of trepidation and a little bit of fear that they might be provoked by the home fans, or their attendance might provoke the home fans. But I'm not really sure. I did see a lovely story as well that there wasn't a drum in the away end, which is obviously very unusual for Thai football. And the Port fans apparently lent them a drum, which again is a lovely gesture, isn't it?
I saw that guy from Muang Thong, like he was making some hand gestures. I think he was flipping the finger towards the Port fan. And I was just having a good banter with my friend, like, oh, this is getting started right now. And then I just see like two Port fans with a drum just walk towards him, and he was walking towards the Port. I'm like, wait, what? The cops are not doing anything? And then they gave him the drum, and then maybe the hand gesture was just like to ask for the drum, and he was not flipping them off. But I actually thought things were going to start.
That's brilliant. And so I guess you've seen the photographs of the little kid flipping the bird as well. Maybe that's what he was doing. He just wanted to drum for himself.
What a legend! What a legend!
So what do you actually think about that? There's been a couple of opinions expressed on the internet.
I can respect it. The ban has been lifted after 8 years, but being a football fan, I would still like to see that kind of rivalry between the fans. Like, I just want to see people like shouting at each other, flipping them off, showing them the finger and all that. That's the beauty of football. In the end of the game, Muang Thong were singing like Tharu, like Port, and the people from Port, they were singing Muang Thong. I was like, wait, weren't you guys meant to be like one of the fiercest rivals in Thai league? But on the other side, I can also understand, because that's culture in Thailand. End of the day, they can still respect each other, and when the game is going on, they can still banter, and they can still be loud cheering for the team. So I can understand both sides of things, but I lean more towards the rivalry being a bit more fierce.
You like a bit of an edge, do you, Kevin?
That's the fun about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I mean, I do like that element of Thai fan culture and fan culture in general. It's when it goes too far. I had a chat with Jim from Port earlier on, and I said, I'm too old now for all this. I mean, I grew up in an era in England when trouble at football was just commonplace. It would just be there, omnipresent the whole time. You were always fearful, especially when you went to away games. And, get to a point, I'm too old for that now. I just want to go and enjoy the football. But it's great that, you've said that. It's good. I mean, I think, without that, football supporting wouldn't be the same, would it?
Problems can be avoided provided you get enough security in the ground. Like on the match day last Wednesday, I think they had like not less than 200 cops around the stadium and inside the stadium. So if you put some money into the security, nothing's gonna happen anyway. So let the fans enjoy, let them have a bit of banter, let them flip each other off, and just have a good match day out.
What was the security like? Were they quite heavy-handed, or did they just kind of made sure that you saw them and you were aware of their presence? How did they deal with it?
I think it was more of like, having a presence so that it can intimidate a few people. They had, police dogs. A few of them were holding guns. The ones that were inside the stadium, in the stands, first of all, there were a lot of them, but they were just chilling, playing on their phone, watching the game. It almost seemed like nothing was really going to happen the whole night. It could also be because there was a lot of security, but in the end, we saw that the fans from the port side, as well as Muang Thong's side, they had some kind of a mutual respect because they know they've costed their club in the past by being stupid enough and going and creating extra trouble. You could feel it when you were in the stadium. You could feel it that nothing wrong was going to happen.
It does seem that everybody was very sensible. If Muang Thong had have won, do you think things would have been different outside the ground afterwards? Or do you think the Port fans would have just accepted defeat and everything would have still passed off without incident?
I don't know, but I started feeling like, we might have trouble because we were 2-0 up. But I was not worried at all because, there was a lot of security and they had, restrictions. They allowed the away fans to leave and, they had the home fans sitting for like the next 25 to 30 minutes before they were allowed to leave. So I don't think anything would have happened with the amount of security there as well. I think it could have gotten a bit heated up, but not having the ultras from Muang Thong kind of helped.
So finally, do you think that's it now? Do you think we've seen an end to the away fan ban and things can get back to normal?
I think so. I just hope the next fixture when they go to Muang Thong, I hope they, hire more security than they're used to, because you still got to be, when there's a big game like this, when it's Muang Thong Buriram or when there's Port Muang Thong, you got to invest a bit in security because if I'm not wrong, the things that happened in the past was because they cut their costs on security. So I think for a few seasons, they still got to be really cautious because things have happened in the past, not once, not twice, but 3 times. They got to see how they can manage this, but I think they'll be fine. They just got to put some money into it.
Hopefully everybody's learned from the experience and we can just all move on. So that's been brilliant. Thank you so much, Kevin. Really appreciate that. It's good to get an away fan's view of the night as well.
Thank you so much for having me, Dale. I hope to talk to you soon as well.
So there you have it. 2 sides of the story, both very similar in what they had to say about how things were handled on the night. So as I said to both of them, very positive and very encouraging, I think.
Yeah, it's time to move on, isn't it? I mean, I'm one of the people who, with my Port allegiance, I've been to Muang Thong the last 3 seasons. The Foreign Legion Muang Thong fans are fantastic. Good to see pictures of Chris from that group, by the way, mixing with the Port fans and having a great time in the fan zone last Wednesday. I'm not so sure he'd been that happy after the game, but there we go. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Getting on with each other. I think we're beyond it now. It might have needed that break. It might have done some good.
Let's hope so. I mean, it was a very lengthy break, and I think that obviously lots of theories as to why it actually took so long to get things sorted. But now we are back at the stage where away fans are being allowed in. Like you say, let's just hope that things can move on. I mean, you sat in the home end on Sunday night, didn't you, in your Sisaket Utd shirt without any problems?
I did, and it was nice of Michael, who we met, him and his friends had a word with the security, explained. Great, that's how it should be.
Anyway, let's not forget, there was also a match played that night. Marco was there, our regular reporter, and he submitted this match report from Port against Muang Thong.
Thai Football Podcast. Match Reports.
Thanks, Dale. I'm at Pat Stadium for the Valentine's Day T1 clash between Port FC and Muang Thong United. There's about 15-20 minutes to go till kick-off, and it's quite a big crowd growing, as you would expect. I've seen a fair few Muang Thong fans milling around in the Port fan area, so that's good to see. The fans are mixing well together. There's not much of a police presence here. I thought there might be a bit more, just for show, more than anything. Anyway, maybe where the away fans are, there's more, but certainly where we are, there isn't many. And let's hope the game goes incident-free, off the pitch anyway. And from my point of view, on the pitch, I'm hoping for 3 points for Port. Half-time at Pat Stadium, and it is Port 0, Muang Thong United 2. Very flat half from Port. They've never really got going, look very lethargic, and Muang Thong have been first to every loose ball, and they've played through our midfield really easily. I could see after 20 minutes it wasn't working from our perspective. I personally would have made changes then, but that's not something that managers do. I'm sure it will happen at half-time. I think we'll probably make 2 or 3 substitutions. So yeah, Muang Thong's first goal was scored by Pop. He got on the end of his own shot, actually was saved by Tomporn, and he slotted it away into the roof of the net. And the second goal came from the penalty spot just before half-time after a lengthy VAR check. Port have had a few half chances. Tardelli had one that he didn't really get hold of. Another one flashed it wide, and then it's all very half-hearted from Port. Really poor performance. Very, very disappointed the way we've played so far. But let's see what happens in the second half. If you remember this fixture last season, Muang Thong were 2-0 down and came back to win 3-2. I'm hoping that history will repeat itself from our point of view this time, and we'll be the victors. But I think that's a very, very long shot at the minute. What did I say at half-time? I said there was a glimmer of hope. Wasn't overly confident, but we got the job done in the end. We were obviously 2-0 down at half-time, and for the first 15 minutes of the half, it was really stop-start. They were just time-wasting at every opportunity. The referee was letting them get away with it. Very, very frustrating. We needed a spark, and we got it through Sisaket. Substitute, he came on, and he scored one. Then he got another. Then he got his hat-trick. The 3-2 up, we're thinking game's in the bag. Then we let one in, lovely strike from the Muang Thong's number 8 to make it 3-3. That was 85 minutes. But we kept going, and Tardelli popped up with a 94th minute winner and gives us all 3 points. Overall, we were rubbish for 60 minutes, but absolutely brilliant in the last half an hour. And fantastic win. I'm absolutely delighted.
All I've got to say, Dale, what a game. A credit to Thai football.
Well, I've heard the first hour was pretty dour. It only came to life in the last 30 minutes, which just happened to be the 30 minutes I was watching. Whether that's a coincidence or not, I don't know.
It has to be said, it might not have been so dull if you were a Muang Thong fan.
Very true. But like I say, it was a great night. Sounds like everybody's come away, even the Muang Thong fans, obviously not happy to lose, but they've probably come away feeling a little bit more confident that things are going to get better from here on in.
This is Clinton, and you're listening to a Thai football podcast.
There were more games played last Wednesday, and we had reporters at 2 of them. Our old friend Riza is next up with his report from Ratchaburi's game, and they're in the middle of a fantastic run. And following that, we've got Bill, who was at his favourite place in the whole of Thailand, Buriram, to watch his side, Sukhothai. So let's listen to Riza first, and then Bill.
Thai football podcast. Match reports.
Assalamualaikum, Sawadee Krap. We are in Thai League match day 17. Today is the match between Ratchaburi FC and Khon Kaen United. The match has ended with the home team wins the game. The match itself going a bit hard for Ratchaburi, even though Khon Kaen not too much making chances, but they defended very well. 0-0 in the first half, and in the second half, Ratchaburi keep trying to score the goals, and they succeed with another goal by the debutant in the home match, Matheus Lima, our new Brazilian striker. But the one impressed me is another new recruit is the Tyron Del Pina, a Spaniard. He has a very good skill, and it looks like already becoming a fan's favorite. So there you go. Another win for Ratchaburi means we are up to 5th in the table. Hope this continues and goes on and on. Come on, you Dragons!
Thai football podcast. Match reports.
Report on the Buriram Sukhothai game of February 14th, Valentine's Day. Before we even left for Buriram, Sukhothai supporters knew that we were in for a struggle. Baggio, Bunia, Chakrit and Lursan, 4 of our top players, were all under suspension and would not participate. Between them, they had scored 14 of Sukhothai's 21 goals so far this season. So we knew that an orgy of Goalmouth thrills in the Buriram goal would not be forthcoming. We did start off playing strong defence, and we did have the odd breakaway. So everything we had planned looked like it might just happen. However, within the first 15 minutes, another of our top players, Arai, got sent off. Now we were 10 players playing against the reigning league champions. We played the rest of the first half with strong defence and again a few breakaways. Our hopes of a perhaps 1-0 win were still intact. Half-time came, 0-0. The second half started, and within a couple of minutes we were a goal down. Problems. We played the rest of the second half against strong defence. In the start of the second half, one of the Buriram players got sent off, so we were back to 10 aside. However, later, after the 60th minute, we had 5 players substituted. We had a strong second team that started the game, but when 5 of our players left, we were down to the weaker half of our second team, and it was no real surprise that Buriram scored 3 more goals. We lost 4-0. With hindsight, we have nothing to worry about. Our team played well. We did not deserve 4 against. 1-0, 2-0 would have been okay. However, we have just gone through a week of the most ridiculous scheduling by the Thai officials. Sukhothai played 3 games in 7 days. That is ridiculous. The good news is that 4 of our best players got a break due to suspension, and they will be rested and raring to go.
Well, Dale, I feel a bit short-changed. Bill was very measured.
He was. I was expecting a 20-minute rant on Buriram, but you're right. He was very calm, wasn't he? I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm going to meet him at the weekend so I can ask him why he didn't have a real go at Buriram, because it was the perfect opportunity, wasn't it?
It was. And fair point he made about the 3 games in quick succession. And Charlie Clough also tweeted, I noticed, Port had 3 games in 6 days. And it might have made more sense to have that midweek round this week when the players have become more accustomed.
I think that would have made sense, especially coming after such a long break. I mean, it's easy to say. I mean, we were talking about this the other night, weren't we, about scheduling and all the rest of it. And I think, when you take into account the climate here, the heat, and even though they hadn't played, a lot of the players hadn't played competitively for, 6 weeks, it's still quite grueling, is it? 3 games in a week. So you can have some sympathy for them, even with big squad sizes. But we'll see. Yeah. We'll see how things progress. I think that the new management have promised to tackle a lot of the problems, so that's obviously something that over the next few months we're going to be monitoring very closely.
Yeah, you've got to give them a chance.
I'm all for giving people a chance. We'll see how they get on. It'd be silly to judge before they've even started, wouldn't it?
Hi, my name is Isaac, and I'm listening to a Thai football podcast.
Next up, we did have games at the weekend. Guess who's back, Rob, with another report?
It wouldn't be Riza, would it?
It is, indeed. And he's a very happy man at the moment. As I said before, Ratchaburi are on this great run. They're grinding out these 1-0 wins, aren't they? So this is Riza with his report from another great night for his team.
Thai Football Podcast. Match Reports.
Sawadee Krap. Good evening from Bunyachinda Stadium in Bangkok. Today, Thai League 18, the match between Police Tero FC with Ratchaburi FC. The match has ended with the scoreline 1-0 for the away team. Ratchaburi FC played offensively throughout the game. They held the ball, they controlled the game, but the goal itself came in the last minute of the match. Injury time 6 minutes, good enough to help Ratchaburi gain 3 points. This is the 3rd match Ratchaburi win streak. So 9 points starting the 2nd leg of the season. It's a very, very good result for the Dragons. Come on, you Dragons!
He is. He's like a 2-minute hero, is Riza, like a little punk report each week. Keep them coming, mate. I have to say, after the race 2 rounds of games, Buriram are coming like a juggernaut. You mentioned your prediction.
I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up, Rob. They're top now, aren't they? But
Yeah.
Bangkok United have got a game in hand, but they've got to play Buriram, haven't they? Is it next week or the week after?
I think it's in a fortnight, yeah.
I'm not going to say anything, until those two have met. We'll have a little bit more of an idea when those two have played each other.
Hi, I'm Sabina. I'm listening to a Thai football podcast.
Just before we move on, there is something I do have to mention. On last week's show, we were talking about teams reaching cup finals and getting relegated. Now, Craig, who's a regular listener, Craig Henry, has contacted us, and he said, didn't Middlesbrough reach 2 cup finals and get relegated in 1996?
Yeah, they were deducted 3 points by the league because they didn't fulfil a fixture because of flu at Blackburn.
That was the one. I remember it now. Yeah, so thanks for that, Craig. And he also pointed out that one of us, I can't remember which one it was now, so if it was me, I apologise, said that Udon Thani were drawn in the League Cup at Buriram United, but it's actually Utai Thani.
I'm not sure. It could have been either of us, that.
So thanks for pointing that out, Craig. And just goes to show people are listening, Rob.
Yeah, it's good to know. I tell you what, I wish somebody would complain every week. A bit of comfort to us.
You might have opened the floodgates now. But it's nice to know people are listening and paying attention, so thank you. And obviously, honestly, don't feel that you can't pull us up. If we're talking nonsense or we get something wrong, feel free to get in touch and tell us. We really don't mind. We're not that precious, are we, mate?
Preferably if we get something wrong. If you complain about us talking nonsense, we'll be here forever.
Good point. So to close this week's show, which has been absolutely wonderful, that, like I said at the start, the trip to Khon Kaen against Sisaket Utd on Sunday was truly memorable. It's a shame. I mean, obviously geography is the issue, but if we could do that every week, we would. I think it would be great to do the show from grounds around the country, but hopefully we'll get to do it again before too much longer. But to close tonight, we've got a special item. She's been on before and she loves doing this. It's Clare and Tim talking about Police Tero's away kit when they visited Chonburi recently, and Clare doesn't hold back.
A Thai football podcast. Fashion place.
Claire, what's your opinion on the Police Tero strip today?
Well, I don't like it. It's very gloomy, to be honest. Yeah, everything's black. Socks and everything. It looks a little bit like an extra strong mint thing on the sleeve.
Well, what colour would you describe that as?
What, the sleeve?
Oh, the 2 little dots on the sleeve.
Okay, so the sleeve has got like a red band with 2 white stripes on it, and then the strip is black with white writing or white numerals.
What's out of 10 for the strip?
I don't know, because I mean there's some really horrible ones, but this isn't really horrible. It's just like nothing. I would say, okay, if I'm going to give it a mark out of 10, 2.
Not very good then.
No, but it's not brash. The colours, well, there are no colours really, so it doesn't clash or cause any kind of issues that way. It looks more like a referee or something without, if you took the numbers off, it would just look like a referee. So, it's very boring, very, very boring.
And just like their football at the moment, at 4-0 down.
Yes, next week on our Royal Ascot review. Great stuff, Clare, in all seriousness. It's nice to know that we're not the only ones who have a beer while we're at football.
She's got her opinions, as Clare, and it's great that she wants to share them with everyone. So thanks for that, Claire. So that's it for this week. It's been a great show. I've really enjoyed putting all that together. So thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks to all the contributors. It's been an absolute joy putting this together. So thank you.
And don't forget, folks, it's the last round of T3. Go out and try and catch a vital game if you can.
Yeah, there's still a lot to play for, isn't there, in most regions?
Yeah.
And we'll see you all next week.
Take care wherever you are, everyone.